On-track action featuring 375 cars, 3,600 laps, and 9,954 miles. Speed Weeks at Daytona means more than the Daytona 500. There are other divisions, other drivers, other races, other concerns. Many competitors in the Busch Grand National Series work and worry all year about this race coming up, the Goodys 300. The last few days have been frustrating for many. Others have had a relatively easy time. But all of that is now behind them. They are set to do battle at the World Center of Racing in the Goodys 300. A huge field of Busch Grand National cars has been pared down to 46. The crowd is also huge. It's a very cool day in Central Florida. The stage is set. Everything is go for the green flag, and we welcome you to Daytona International Speedway and the Goodys 300. Well, we began our coverage here at Daytona back before the Rolex 24. It culminates here today with the running of this Busch Grand National race. It is a very big race for these drivers, very prestigious to do well here. Plus, they are going for the largest purse in series history. Traditionally, it has been a race won by a Winston Cup driver, getting some time in for tomorrow's race. However, that streak was brought to an end just last year. For more on that, here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Bob, only once in the 14-year history of the Busch Grand National Series as a Busch Series regular won this race, the season opening Goodys 300. As you said, it happened a year ago in rather miraculous fashion as Chad Little came from all the way back there, 42nd spot, all the way to the front to take the victory. Today, there are 13 Winston Cup regulars in the field, but only 3 in the top 10. That means there are 7 Busch Series regulars starting up front, and of those 7, 5 have never won a race. Who could it be today? Could it be a Busch Series regular? Maybe a first-time winner? Take a look. Back in row 4 on the outside, Randy LaJoie. He has finished second twice on the Speedways, still looking for his first victory. How about inside of him, starting in 7th spot? Vermont's Kevin LePage came here with no sponsor on the card. Great qualifying effort. Moving up the grid in the top 10. Tracy Leslie, his only win came 3 years ago in the short track at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Mike McLaughlin starts 3rd, and he has 1 win. That's at Dover, Delaware. But up front on the pole with a qualifying effort, even faster than Dale Earnhardt's pole-winning speed for the 500, is Jeff Purvis. Purvis has never won a Busch Series event. And remember last Sunday when he won the ARCA 200, he climbed out of the car and dedicated that victory to the memory of Neil Bonnet. And look today, on his dashboard, he carries the spirit of Neil Bonnet with him once again. But there's more on some drivers' minds than just winning. With more on that, here's Bill Weber.
Here's one car that's very familiar with the front of the field, the number 3 Goodwrench Chevrolet Monte Carlo driven by Jeff Green. In fact, in first round qualifying, he was 5th fastest. But when he came back from that qualifying run, his spoiler measured 42 degrees, below the minimum of 45 mandated by NASCAR. His time was disallowed. Jeff went in second round qualifying. He'll start 27th. Now, Dr. Punch talked about Chad Little. Last year, last to first. This year, Chad starts 30th, his best starting position here in 3 years. He has a new car in a Pontiac, a new sponsor, and as of this morning, a new motor. His 4th motor in 6 days. And talk about teams that have had trouble. Well, way back there, near the rear of the field, you will find Dennis Setzer, a talented 2-time winner in the Busch Series. Now, this year, he drives for Aiken Sutton Motorsports, the team that finished 9th in Busch points 1 year ago. But it has been a frustrating week for that team. They had to take a provisional. Dennis Setzer starts 43rd. Race drivers come to race tracks to win races. But here in Daytona, for the Busch Series, because of the expense and expertise it takes to be successful, many teams will take a top 20 finish, take their points, and take their car home in one piece. Now let's go up top to Benny Parsons and Kyle Petty.
Jerry Punch mentioned the 13 Winston Cup drivers that will start the Daytona 500 tomorrow in this field. Here's a Winston Cup driver. Why aren't you down there sitting in the booth with us?
I guess, Benny, because when I mess up here, it doesn't hurt as bad when y'all slam me as it does when I run into these walls head on out here.
Do Winston Cup drivers view this as a dangerous race?
I don't think they view it as a dangerous race. I think they view it, as a race that they can go out and get some laps in early in the season. But can it be a dangerous race? It can in some aspects. I think the last couple of laps of last year's race, when they all piled up coming out of 4 here, there were some sore drivers Monday or Sunday morning getting ready to go into the 500.
Can the drivers learn anything today that will help them win the Daytona 500?
I think so more now in the last couple of years than they ever could before, especially since we've gone to the 9-to-1, to the V8s again, to the weight being close to the same. The wheelbases are a little same, but you'll notice the Pontiac, the Ford, and the Chevy are the same body style. So, yes, I think they learn just a little bit. Whether it gives them an advantage, I don't think so on Sunday, but they learn a little bit anyhow.
All right, Bob, we can slam Kyle right in the wall if we want to. It won't hurt as bad as a race car, but he will say we can slam him in the wall.
Okay, well, the 46 cars that are going to race today have been started. And in just a moment, we'll come back for the green flag for 300 miles, 120 laps of racing at Daytona.
A decade ago, Suzuki unleashed the original GSXR. It created a new category of motorcycles. Win after win, time after time. We never stopped refining. And now the time has come again. The all-new GSX-R 750 is finally here. Because something this fast can't be rushed.
In Denton, Texas, a lot of folks who work on their cars go to AutoZone because they know they're going to find quality parts, low prices, great selection, and good people like Tom Robinson. You see, Tom's the kind of guy who really likes to help folks out. And since he's been around cars most all his life, he knows his parts, too. Oh, sure, there are other parts stores in town, but when it comes to getting the right part, the right price, and good advice from folks like Tom, there's just no place better than AutoZone.
Now, there's a brand new motor oil made to handle the stresses on your hard-working engine. 4x4 from Quaker State. Off-road driving. Extreme temperatures. Especially towing and hauling. They all make your light truck or 4x4 work extra hard and could shorten its life. Why settle for a conventional car oil? Get a synthetic blend that can take the punishment. 4x4. It's new from Quaker State. The intelligent oil for hard-working engines.
You don't ever drop your guard here at Daytona. You come here for the speed. 195 mile an hour plus. It's intimidating. That's my kind of race. That's the kind of race I like. I've won here. I've lost here. Had so many memories. You know, you just get too comfortable with it, it'll bite you in a minute. The track demands respect.
Busch Beer is proud to bring you the great tracks of NASCAR, now featuring the Daytona International Speedway.
It's the track.
ESPN Speed World coverage of the Goodys 300 from Daytona International Speedway being brought to you by Suzuki. Your Suzuki motorcycle and ATV dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. By Dynomax Performance Exhaust Systems, engineered by Walker. And by Quaker State, the motor oil that exceeds the highest standards for engine protection. Field is in turn number 4, set to take the green flag next time around. Let's take a look at the Suzuki starting grid with the pole sitter Jeff Purvis, faster than Dale Earnhardt's Winston Cup effort. Joe Nemechek, who won the pole for the most recent Busch Grand National race in Homestead last year, outside of row number 1. Second row consists of Mike McLaughlin from Waterloo, New York, car number 34, and Steve Grissom in car number 29. The third row, Tracy Leslie, car number 11, and 43, Rodney Combs. Kevin LePage starts in 7th position alongside Randy LaJoy. Starting 9th and 10th will be Larry Pearson and Pete Orr. 11th and 12th, Hut Strickland and Jason Keller. Phil Parsons and Todd Bodine make up row number 7. In the 8th row, it's Jim Bound and Dale Jarrett. Bobby Labonte and Joe Bessie go from row number 9. In the 10th row, it's Curtis Markham and Derek Cope. Row number 11 will be Lonnie Rush and Terry Labonte. And as you take a look at the rest of the starting lineup, BP, tell us about all of our in-car cameras that we have today. We've got a total of 7 to complement our coverage.
That was Hermie Sadler we just saw, the Peebles department store. This is Jimmy Spencer, the Wagner Brakes camera. This is from the roof of his car. Car number 20. And there's the field getting ganged up, ready for a start. We see the light is out atop the pace car. We'll see green the next time by.
30 Chevys, 12 Fords, and 4 Pontiacs are set to do battle on a very cool afternoon in Central Florida. The temperature isn't expected to reach 60 here today. However, for tomorrow's Daytona 500, a warming trend is supposed to settle in and a beautiful 65-degree day for the 500. A big crowd on hand here for this one despite the cool weather. This always is one of the best races that we see in the Busch Grand National Series. Look at the crowd there. Wow. 120 laps of competition. The race record is held by Darrell Waltrip, set in 1978. The pole speed, as you saw earlier, 189.7. They'll have to pit for fuel at least by lap number 50 and 55.
As a matter of fact, Dennis Setzer, who's starting at the tail end of the pack, stopped on the first parade lap and topped his tank off just to make sure that he could run that extra lap in case he needed to.
Beautiful overhead shot as the cars come off of the fourth corner, and now the pace car turns on to pit road. We are set to go racing in the Goodys 300 at Daytona. The green flag is out. Here we go.
Bobby Labonte, 3 wide on the inside, trying to make a move. What a great start, Kyle.
It was a great start. Nobody jumped and got wild. Nobody got crazy. Everybody just kind of stayed in their lines. They'll get sorted out here in the next few laps, but it's a good, clean start.
Now Purvis inches ahead as Steve Grissom comes underneath Joe Nemechek to take second.
Wow, and Grissom just moved up in front of Nemechek.
Lap 1 complete. It's Purvis, then Grissom, then McLaughlin, the first 3, and then side-by-side racing for 4th into 1.
This is Hutch Strickland's car looking out the back bumper. That's Jason Keller, the red and yellow 57. And that's Dale Jarrett's Band-Aid car. And there's the roof, the roof camera on Dale Jarrett's car. Driver change. Bill Weber.
Darrell Sage climbing into the 16 car was started by Chuck Bound. They got into this race because Bound did qualify the car in second round. His speed wasn't fast enough, so they used a past champions provisional. Chuck Bound gets out. Darrell Sage gets back in. He plans to use the rest of this race as a test session as Purvis leads the field back to the line.
First 3 drivers in a draft pulling away from everybody else because they're racing side by side behind them.
The 98 car of Jeremy Mayfield started 32nd. Observers already indicate he's losing oil on the racetrack.
Now Nemechek breaks away from this side-by-side battling, and Dale Jarrett makes it 3 wide down the backstretch.
There goes Kevin LePage in the black and gold 71. That's Tracy Leslie in the green. Oh, and they make some contact. Oh, and they're on the apron over there.
Oh, and some heads-up driving by a lot of people as some had to stand on the brakes. But a big crash was avoided. They're black flagging Jeremy Mayfield.
Kyle, they had a wreck over there and didn't hit anything. How do you do that?
I don't have a clue. There's some damage to the 11 car as you see them as they go in here. These guys, there's no way they should have made it through this corner. Once they got to that point right there, they're all in trouble.
That's Michael Waltrip, the M.W. Windows car, the 12, on the apron of the racetrack, and he did not spin out.
He got hit by Joe Bessie in car number 12, and everybody hung on. Unbelievable. Here's Joe Bessie's in-car camera.
There goes Labonte car, Terry Labonte in 5.
Michael Waltrip is in 12. We understand that Randy LaJoy may have a flat tire. Maybe bringing the car toward the pits.
He didn't pit this time.
Here comes Mayfield, though, answering the black flag. They want to check for fluid coming from that car. Bill, what's going on?
The crew didn't seem to know. Jeremy Mayfield has brought the car to pit road. Now he has shut it off. They're going to go under the hood. The NASCAR inspectors looking under the car from the rear and from the side. So it's a possible oil tank leak is what they're hypothesizing now. So they're working on that, and then they'll send Jeremy back out.
Meanwhile, on the racetrack, it's still 3 wide some places.
Dale Jarrett in that Band-Aid car trying to get to the front. There's a 20 car. That's Jimmy Spencer, and he is moving up. But look at this group of cars. He moves down right in front of Curtis Markham. Kyle, I don't blame you. I think it's much safer up here.
It's a lot safer. After watching these first few laps, if this goes like this all day long, it's going to be a lot safer up here.
There's Derek Cope in the 26 car, the blue one ahead, and passing by in the 51 of Jim Bound. Pete Orr moving up on the outside.
Larry Pearson in the 92 car, the Stanley car. Trying to get by Tracy Leslie. Tracy qualified about 5th.
Jerry has an update on Randy LaJoie. We speculate he may have a flat tire, Jerry.
Bob, that's what happened a moment ago. Randy radioed his crew chief, Steve Bird, and said, left rear, left rear, left rear. He said, stay out. We'll look at it as it comes by. He came by. I thought he had a little bit of a vibration and then a tire going down, but apparently he came by that time. Must have been some debris or something on the tire. It has since gone away, so he stayed on the racetrack and has not made the unscheduled stop.
Steve Grissom in the World Championship Wrestling Chevrolet has wrestled the lead away from Jeff Purvis as we complete lap number 7. That's McLaughlin running 3rd and Joe Nemechek 4th as those 4 cars are by themselves. Here's how the pass for the lead occurred.
Going in turn 3, this seems to be the favorite place to pass, Kyle.
You get so much of a draft, especially if you're pulling a little bit lower gear than some of these other guys. There's so much of a place to pass right there. You suck up, you get a little help, you go right past them.
And now McLaughlin takes 2nd place from Jeff Purvis in the same portion of the racetrack at the end of the backstretch.
Purvis's car may be a little loose getting in that corner. A lot of times, if your car's a little bit loose, you'll check up and let the car get into the corner, settle down on the springs and shocks, and then ease back into it wide open. Obviously, he's fast enough down the straightaways to hang with him, but if you notice, they'll pull him a little bit getting into the corners.
Purvis looking to the inside, thinking about trying to go for 2nd, but he settles back in line. We'll be back with more at the Goodys 300 in a moment.
It's a simple concept. The bigger the hole, the easier air can flow through it. That's the idea behind Dynamax, the performance exhaust with the open airflow. Dynamax. Its patented open design maximizes your engine's full power potential, so you can really haul. Performance exhaust systems, engineered by Walker. Dynamax.
No trendy health club. No $60 shorts. No bull. Speed Stick's no-nonsense formula gives you 110% protection. Like you, it never quits.
Having a little trouble packing on pounds or getting noticed? Then drink this. General Nutrition's Pro Performance 2200 Weight Gain. 2,200 pound packing calories a serving. Hey, beef up. Get noticed with GNC's Pro Performance 2200 Weight Gain. Only at GNC.
6 nights a week, ESPN2 brings you the news, reviews, previews, and interviews from on and off the track. It's 30 minutes of pure friction. RPM tonight, Monday through Friday at 7, and Sundays at 6:30.
The Alabama Crimson Tide has one of the nation's leading scorers, Shalonda Ennis, on its side. And the Vanderbilt Commodores have All-American forward Cherie Sam. It's a shootout in Nashville. Alabama versus Vanderbilt, Monday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, only on ESPN.
Welcome back to ESPN Speed World's coverage of the Goodys 300 at Daytona. We have a new leader, and what was a 4-car battle for the lead has turned into a 9-car battle for the lead as the second group has caught the first. And the new leader is Mike McLaughlin in car number 34, who got the lead away from Steve Grissom, and this is how he did it.
In the trial, ducked on the inside of Grissom. 4 cars lined up behind him, and poor old Grissom had nothing to do except let him go. That's Rodney Combs in the 43, the Lance car, Jeff Purvis, a pole sitter, and Kevin LePage.
So it's those 4 cars now that are running together. Grissom back to 5th as you see the top 10 there on our scoring pylon in the upper left portion of your screen. There's Nemechek running to the outside of the 28 car of Hut Strickland.
Dale Jarrett in the Band-Aid, the 32 car. That's the on top of Dale Jarrett's car. Trying to close in, trying to get hooked back up with that lead draft.
Dale out for a Saturday afternoon run at Daytona. Started 16th, has moved all the way up to 7th.
Jeremy Mayfield hit it. They looked under the hood of his car, and he is back on the track, so evidently they have fixed the oil-in problem. There's a Royal car, the leader. Now they're fanning out behind them. 3 of them going abreast. Poor Mike doesn't have much choice.
And it looks like we're going to have yet another leader as Rodney Combs goes to the front in the Richard Petty car. That's Purvis sliding down the backstretch, and he's going to slide to the grass.
This is unbelievable, Tom.
It's unbelievable that no more cars got involved in that, and that nobody's tore up any worse than they were.
The caution is coming out, however.
There is some damage to the right front fender. We can see where the fender is bulged up with the hood, so there is, and we can see where the fender is rubbing the tire on Purvis's car. Tough break for a pole sitter.
But a lucky break for those drivers that were behind him because there were no other car involved in the incident. Look at what happened here. That's McLaughlin in 34 behind Purvis.
And Kyle, one of those situations, you just try to go up the hill, but McLaughlin's car was there.
Yeah, there was no place. When they came up off the corner, you don't know if Purvis's car got a little bit loose or what happened to him, but as he comes up, he just barely, he needs 6 more inches to get in line, and that 6 more inches is the hood of McLaughlin's car.
And the window is out the right side of the car. That might be a problem for Purvis if they don't have a spare.
The window popped out, the roof flap popped up, and there's the contact with the ball. Pretty significant, really.
Yeah, he hit it pretty doggone good. And there's the window blowing out.
Yep. But luckily, the car slid to the infield, and there was space enough behind that nobody else became involved. Now from the blimp.
Well, there were guys coming by. They
were wondering where to go.
Oh, yeah. There is no place to go when you get there.
Yeah.
Let's look from Randy LaJoy's in-car camera at Purvis and see how close that LaJoy was through the accident.
He picked up a couple of positions because
he just flew right by McLaughlin. We see Purvis in the pits.
Hear him screaming for a right window.
Purvis is going a lap down. The pace car goes by and puts the 4 car a lap down.
And the work is furious in Jeff Purvis's pit, trying to get him back out there after our first caution here at Daytona.
The D really does make the difference.
So remember, we're the Sears, where the D really does make the service difference.
luxury cars in the world, only one was chosen as a Consumer's Digest Best Buy for 1996. Lincoln Town Car. And only Lincoln Town Car can be yours for just $4.99 down and $4.99 a month for only 24 months. That's right, just $4.99 down and $4.99 a month gives you a Lincoln Town Car for 24 luxurious months. But hurry, $4.99 down and $4.99 a month ends soon, so see your Lincoln dealer now.
How do you tell a male penguin from a female penguin? You can't. Thank you very much, thank you. Thank you, you're beautiful, really. I'm gonna be Vegas in the 15th.
17 laps have been completed in the Goodys 300 at Daytona International Speedway. We are under our first caution of the race, and this is what happened down the backstretch.
That's Purvis in the red car and McLaughlin in the red and yellow car. And Purvis into the wall with the right front. As the car comes around, the air goes in the driver's door. Watch as the window flies out the right side of the car. There it is. That is the window out the right side of the car. And NASCAR mandates that you must have that window in the car before you can run on this speedway.
Purvis was the only car involved in the incident. So let's examine the window situation closer now as we present an ESPN Track Back, brought to you by Quaker State, the motor oil that exceeds the highest standards for engine protection. Here's Jerry Punch.
3 years ago, NASCAR mandated that cars on super speedways have right side windows to try to prevent air from getting inside the car when it would spin sideways, thus producing a lift situation for the car. The right side windows, in conjunction with the fender skirts and the roof flaps, now have been able to keep the cars on the ground. Now here at Daytona, teams watched the ARCA race last Sunday and saw one driver, Shane Doles, who didn't have a spare window. And that's why many of them have done this. They have gone and bought a piece of plexiglass, I'm in the Jeff Green pit, and simply just cut it out in the shape of a spare right side window. This is the one that Jeff Green would use if he would need it, if his right side window would come out. They would have to pop rivet it in. Now, NASCAR will not allow you to tape it in place because they feel like the tape will blow away and the window will come out. But they will pop rivet in place. This right side window may not look like much, but closing off that air ventilation hole can keep the car on the ground. Bob?
And we saw the right side window there on Randy LaJoie's car. Our in-car camera showing us that, and there's Tracy Leslie's.
The one thing about when they do put the side window back in it, NASCAR does allow them to pop rivet it in, but they're only allowed to use a certain number of pop rivets because in case of an accident, like we saw in the flip down here in the ARCA race, sometimes that is an exit route out of the car. If the window is pop riveted in solid and the driver can't get out, it becomes more of a safety hazard.
We are about to go green once again. And leading them down is Rodney Combs, who led 5 laps in last year's Goodys race. That were the only laps that he led all year. His best finish was a 6th at Atlanta and a 6th at Myrtle Beach. He has the lead of the Goodys 300 at the moment with 3 cars lined up behind him.
That's Jeremy Mayfield in the black number 98 that has spent several laps in the pits. He's 7 laps down currently. They're all getting lined up. About 25 cars in the lead draft.
Chad Little made a pit stop in the 23 car. He had an ignition problem. He went from last to first. Wasn't an ignition problem down there, Jerry?
A combination of problems, Bob. One was the ignition. The other was the fact that the water temperature was not coming up in the car. It was staying about 160 degrees, and the car would just lay down and not run. So they came in, put a little tape over the front of the car, and also checked the ignition.
So he's making a bonsai move through the field again like he did last year.
That's Johnny Rumney in the 25 that Chad Little just went by. That's Chad Little in the green and yellow car. And I tell you, Chad Little's car is not up to speed. Terry Labonte back in the 5. Labonte, 11. Tracy Leslie, all these cars made a pit stop on the caution flag.
And there's Jeff Purvis trying to catch back up. He lost 1 lap during that incident. Several other cars made pit stops. Tracy Leslie in number 11, and also Pete Orr came in for a pit stop during the caution.
There's McLaughlin and Dale Jarrett side by side. And look at Michael Waltrip on the inside trying to make it 3 abreast. And that's Mark Martin in the Winn-Dixie car following Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, we hadn't said much about Mark Martin. He's always a factor in any Busch race he's in. He started 28th, and there he is in 9th, 10th, 11th, right there following Mike Waltrip and pushing him up through the field.
Bill Weber updates the Jeff Purvis story.
With Johnny Allen calling the shots down here, how's your car, Johnny?
It's got a pretty good bit of body damage on the right front, but, you know, he said it's all right now. It's not, you know, we got the fender off the tire. He said it ain't driving bad right there. We'll just need some body work done back on it so we can get back up there and try to gain a lap back.
Oh, trouble!
Jason Keller.
Todd Bodine, that's Todd in the blue car.
Scramble under one car. Oh! Car almost turning over was Doug Hebron. A big scramble is on to try to avoid many cars coming down pit road, some of them near full speed. Joe Bessie is involved, Kevin LePage. That's a big crash.
That's LePage there in the black and gold 71.
LePage took a big hit in the inside wall there.
Jason Keller, we see him moving around in the 57. There's Andy Hillenberg, the AC Delco car. He's also involved. The right front pointing south. There's Hebron getting out.
Hebron almost flipped over, as we'll see on the replay. But he's okay, obviously.
Jason Keller, I see him moving around in the car.
Yeah.
I guess he's not going to move until the... Man, that car... Well,
yeah,
let's see if they can win that down.
Boy, the front end of that car is gone, isn't it?
And the side.
Yeah.
And the back. What's good about it? Nothing much.
LePage has climbed out of his car. That's good news. Here it is again.
He's the car in the middle is Jason Keller, the 57. And Kyle, they take the air off his spoiler, don't they?
The worst place in the world to be on this racetrack is in the center coming out of this corner. It's not as bad over out of 2, but the car just gets sideways coming off. He runs into Michael, then back into the outside wall. He takes a heavy hit there. You see LePage go out. He takes another hit right here. Jason does right in the front. And if you watch him, he spins and spins, and he's sitting there, and he'll take one more big hit before it's all over with. And it kind of reminds me of when my father wrecked here.
That's Hebron.
There's Hebron up on his side that comes through. And, I mean, there's nothing you can do at that point. There's nothing these guys can do sitting in the car. They're just waiting to get hit time after time. And the guys that are coming in, there's stuff on the racetrack. They're cutting tires. Things are happening. There's not a lot you can do.
Pit road becomes the racetrack. They are detouring all the traffic down pit road to assist with the cleanup. Here it is again.
And Michael Waltrip was blessed in the MW Windows car that the no contact was made. And we see LePage heading for the inside wall. And there's Todd Bodine, some heavy contact. Bodine's first race for this brand new team. And here's Hebron.
Oh, man.
Hermes Sadler goes under. It looked like he went under Hebron's car.
And there's Andy Hillenberg taking a final shot. Man, oh man. Here, let's see if... Whiz, that's Hermes Sadler. What a frightening sight.
Great camera shot.
Yeah, really. Jason Keller's race is over. He's okay.
This would look like a better deal all the time, isn't it, Kyle?
I feel a lot better right now sitting right here.
Man, look at the damage on that right
Here's Jerry Punch.
Steve Addington is Jason Keller's crew chief. And, Steve, what did Jason tell you happened out there?
He was just riding along there, biding his time. He'd got back up in the lead draft and said Michael ran up under him and took the air off of him and just turned sideways on him.
So no air on the rear spoiler, and it's hard to control.
Yeah, it's bad, especially it's windy out there today, too. And he's just trying to stay there in the lead pack to the end of the race for this championship. But we'll be back next week at Rockingham with Slim Jim Chevrolet.
That's Steve Addington, the crew chief for Jason Keller. By the way, Jason said he's okay, but obviously, Kyle, with no air on that rear spoiler, it's hard to keep the car going straight.
Obviously. The 71 car of LePage being loaded onto the rollback. This is Joe Bessie's in-car camera, Benny.
Yes, he sees the smoke, he backs off. Someone runs in the back of Bessie is why he spun out. But he keeps the engine running.
Now, here's the dramatic shot from Hermes Sadler. Marcus Hermy. He's okay, and the cleanup is on here at Daytona after a massive crash off of turn number 4. We'll be right back.
When the Hendrick team switched to Quaker State this year, I was talking with my crew chief about it, and he said they ran through all these tests. The dyno, camshaft test, and all these others, right? And the stuff beats all their standards. So I said, but don't forget, we won 8 races with last year's oil. And he said, yeah, but don't you forget, we also lost 24. Tough crowd. Dang, guys, come on.
Quaker State exceeds the highest standards for engine protection.
Enter the Performance Zone with Split Fire Performance V spark plugs.
You get your passing gear, you're gone. The difference in gas mileage has been fantastic.
Split Fire Performance V spark plugs mean better performance, more horsepower, and better mileage. So say the experts and the people who use them.
They're the best plugs I ever put in my car.
Enter the Performance Zone only with Split Fire Performance V's, guaranteed.
Throw the Suzuki Katana 600 at a few of your favorite curves. You'll like how it feels, how it looks, and how much fun it is to ride. Pretty soon, you'll realize that life will never be the same. The Suzuki Katana.
When the Hendrick team switched to Quaker State this year, I was talking with my crew chief about it, and he said they ran through all these tests. The dyno, camshaft test, and all these others, right? And the stuff beats all their standards. So I said, but don't forget, we won 8 races with last year's oil. And he said, yeah, but don't you forget, we also lost 24. Tough crowd. Dang, guys, come on.
Quaker State exceeds the highest standards for engine protection.
In just a moment, we'll be going back green in the Goodys 300 Busch Grand National race here at Daytona. Here's the reason for the caution.
Jason Keller in the middle, alongside, that's Hutch Strickland in the red car on the outside, Michael Waltrip on the white car on the inside. And watch as he makes contact with the wall, and here comes Todd Bodine in the blue car. No place to go except in the side of Jason Keller. And then the wreck just continues to go on.
Doug Heverin nearly overturning as he made contact with Keller.
And watch, we see Andy Kevin LePage go back and bam, the rear and the front in the inside wall as he tried to dodge the accident.
Boy, the good news is that everybody apparently is okay, and included in that group is Jason Keller. We're glad to see that he is okay. Here's Bill Weber.
Jason Keller's just come out of the infield medical center. You're okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. You know, it's just a shame that it had to happen that early. You know, it's just, I'd like to say that's racing, but that's the Cup guys racing in the Busch Series. It sometimes happens like that. And
what happened, Jason?
A couple of Cup guys stuck by me down the back straightaway. We're running side by side, and I guess they don't take it near as cautious as we do. And it's a shame because I thought one of those Cup guys were a real good buddy of mine, but I guess you don't have any buddies on the racetrack.
Jason Keller, he's okay, but out of the race.
And the race is back under green on lap number 28 with Rodney Combs continuing to show the way. Mike McLaughlin is in second position. Chad Little has moved up to third. Jerry, this move by Chad Little is looking pretty good here.
Bob, he didn't have to pit that time because he'd been in on the previous caution flag. But remember we told you they thought they had an ignition problem. The car was sputtering and missing and not coming up to temperature. The reason it wasn't coming up to temperature, they only had 7 cylinders firing. They found the plug wire off, put the plug wire on, and imagine what a V8 will do when you put it in competition versus a 7-cylinder.
We don't have many 7-cylinders running in this division.
Not competitively.
That's David Green, the 95 car, the Cat car, a new driver in that vehicle this year. There's Tracy Leslie in the green 11 car, I should say.
Johnny Rumley is his black car back here running in 6th place. And Joe Nemechek is right behind him as they form the single file drafting line.
know about you guys, but I'm glad to see Chad Little run up front, especially since he's in a 96 Pontiac. He hasn't been in a lot of races yet, and to see a Pontiac run up front's good for me.
Yep.
How come the King doesn't have a Pontiac in the Busch Grand National? That's a Chevrolet Monte Carlo that Rodney is driving.
I think he's pretty much spread out. If you look at it, he's got a Chevrolet in the Busch Series, a Pontiac in the Winston Cup Series, and a Dodge pickup in the Super Truck Series. So if anybody's got an Edsel out there, anything they want him to run, I'm sure he'll look for a division for that one.
Bill Weber has an update on McLaughlin, who's running second.
Well, Mike McLaughlin didn't want to pit because if he came in, he felt he'd get trapped behind a bunch of traffic. Then as he passed the pit entrance, he looked at his rearview mirror, and he's charging into the lead. But when he went past pit road, he looked in his rearview mirror, saw everybody coming in, and went, uh-oh. Now the plan is for the 34 and the 43 to pit together on lap 50 if the race stays green. Right now, the 34 and 23 battling for position.
They are battling side by side for the lead up in turn number 3.
This is a Cracker Barrel in-car camera with Tracy Leslie, and we see them all lining up now, 2 and 3 abreast.
17 cars are packed tightly together.
Wow.
And still no clear-cut leader here, McLaughlin and Chad Little. And Dale Jarrett is right in the middle of things.
I mean, square in the middle of things. There's Jimmy Spencer going by now. Dale Jarrett decides he's going to try to make it 3 abreast.
Going underneath Johnny Rumley.
You got to remember the Winston Cup guys that are in this race, especially guys like Dale Jarrett. They've already been in numerous practice sessions this week and 2 or 3 races, so they know they can make it 2 or 3 wide, and they know they can do it comfortably.
McLaughlin has a lead. Combs second.
Wow. These cars traveling at 190 miles per hour, folks, and you see, if something happens, you just cannot stop these cars. If there's a wreck in front of you, you're in the wreck. There's just no dodging it. There's Jeff Fuller in the 47, the Sunoco car.
Fuller making a nice move. That's Jimmy Spencer there on the bottom of the white 20.
Spencer just blows by Derek Cope.
He comes to 5th. Hut Strickland is off the pace down the backstretch.
Yeah, his car is barely running.
This is Tracy Leslie's roof cam. There's Little going to the low side of the racetrack.
We see Chad Little has lost several positions. He was 3rd just a moment ago. He's now credited with 11th spot.
Steve Grissom in 29. Jerry, what's wrong with Hut Strickland?
Apparently a flat left rear tire on the Smoky Mountain shoe machine for Hut Strickland. He started 11th, was running awfully well, and got a vibration. Before he could even cue the radio, the tire began to go down, so he will make a pit stop and come down under the green and obviously lose at least 1 lap.
Yeah, he's about to lose one right now because he's on pit road and the field is at the stripe. Jimmy Spencer has moved to 5th. As Hut makes the stop. On top of Jimmy Spencer, that's Jeff Fuller ahead.
Looks like McLaughlin's been shoveled back to 3rd place as Rodney Combs takes the lead. Nemechek follows in 2nd spot. There comes Jeff Fuller on the inside. McLaughlin and Fuller raced for so many years in those modifieds. And Spencer, all 3 of these guys, ex-modified drivers.
Good point, Benny. All 3 of these guys used to race in the Northeast in modifieds. And Fuller is pretty much hung out here.
They're going to say, see you, Jeff.
And Mark Martin has come up to join the fray as he is now in 6th position. That's the black number 60, driven by Mark Martin. We'll take a break with 86 laps to go in the Goodys 300. We'll be right back.
You know, I really want a Mitsubishi big screen.
Yeah, but how are we going to pay for it?
There's nothing to it.
Nothing to it?
Come to these Sears. Buy any Mitsubishi big screen, big tube, or VCR and pay nothing down.
Think of the movies.
Make no monthly payments.
Think of the sports.
And pay no accrued interest.
Nothing?
Not 1 penny for 18 months.
Sitcom.
The sports.
The soaps.
The sports.
D Sears, where the D makes the service difference.
When other dealers say they can't, Cox can. We say yes when other dealers tell you no. Yes, we can give you more for your trade. We can find the vehicle you want. Yes, we can make financing easier. We can provide the best selection of new and used cars and trucks. We can provide the best service, including Saturdays. And yes, we can beat the competitor's price. So don't let other dealers tell you no. Come to Cox Chevrolet and Cox Geo because yes, Cox can.
Words in the English language after Chorus Girl. College hoops. Big Mondays here again. Lots of primo games on the tube again. You better wait till I have to hit the John, my friend. El Grande Mondays here again. Hey, school night, schmool night. You better watch or I'll give you a pop quiz right in the kisser, eh?
Okay, how was that?
I smell platinum.
The action continues at Daytona in the Goodys 300 an hour. Overhead shots are courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. At the controls, Captains Richard Daniels and Dan Thomas, both from Pompano Beach, Florida. Thanks, guys, for the overheads of the Goodys 300. 25 cars more or less involved in the lead draft. And there are 3 out front, and from there on back, it's anybody's race.
Here, see Mark Martin just turn under the 34 car, Mike McLaughlin, and go by. And I would think that McLaughlin not pitting, his tires are getting a little bit warm, and his car's not handling as good as some of these cars. Wouldn't you think, Kyle?
You would think so, you know, and it probably is as far as that goes, but the other car that didn't pit, the 43 car, is still running out front. We hadn't said that much about Rockin' Rodney, but he's still checking out on him, you know, so I'm sure McLaughlin's car is a little bit loose and a little bit edgy, but it's got a motor in it, because if he stays on that outside line, he just stays out there and pulls that outside line.
Here's a field summary. Watch for your favorite driver. The numbers in parentheses indicate where that particular driver started the race. Fuller has moved up from 25th to 12th.
There's Markham, Grissom, and Phil Parsons on the inside. That's Phil and the 10, the channel lock car. And they're all trying to get by McLaughlin. Lined up, and looks like McLaughlin might be in trouble. One of them goes by. Grissom tries to go by. There we see they've hung Phil out now. Those cars pull up in front of McLaughlin. Now the outside line will probably drive back by.
Derek Cope, though, has joined Phil down there. Jerry Punch has a report from the pit area.
This is Hud Strickland's left rear tire. Now, with the naked eye, it'd be hard to see the cut. But I'm going to circle it here, and I'm going to tell you that whatever he hit was so sharp, looks like a razor blade. Take a look at the cut here as we open the tire up. See there where it just sliced into the tire? If I fold it back, you can hardly see it. But once the Goodyear engineers came over, you could see readily, apparently, he cut something very, very sharp metal, cut the tire, and that cost him a lap, well, 2 laps, actually, on the racetrack. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
And Doug Hebron was loaded by stretcher into an ambulance, but it's just precautionary. Larry Beluski from the Speedway staff told me that he's fine. He did have a neck brace on. They're going to take him to a hospital for precautionary x-rays. Has a small lump on the back of his neck, but again, the Speedway staff telling us he's fine. This is just a precautionary trip to the hospital. Kevin LePage apparently is fine. In fact, he snuck out of the medical center, but he's okay, just very disappointed.
And the positions are changing up front. Rodney's still hanging on to the lead, but Spencer has come to second. It looks like that...
Dale Jarrett.
Yeah, Nemechek is the one that got hung out there for a moment in the 87.
That's Jarrett in third, and Mark Martin trying to take over that 4th spot along with Steve Grissom.
This is Spencer's roof cam, and he wants the lead. He started 29th. He's right behind the leader, Rodney Combs.
McLaughlin McLaughlin turns sideways, coming off the trial oval.
A big wreck.
Contact to the outside wall.
Nemechek is involved. Hutz Strickland survived.
Michael Waltrip was in the crash, so I see Derek Cope is in the crash.
There's McLaughlin. Still rolling, but headed toward the apron of the racetrack.
And there's Michael Waltrip driving away. No, that wasn't Michael. That was the 18 car, I believe. Michael, you're going the wrong way, buddy.
Here it is again.
There's McLaughlin on the inside, right next to
Nemechek.
He just gets the car loose. When he saves it, he comes up, hits Nemechek, and both those cars spin. LaJoie just seems to drive right through it.
There's Michael up in the air right here in the corner.
Yep.
Goes back across the racetrack.
Here's another angle.
And there we see Derek Cope try to dodge the wreck and just turn his car sideways and spin.
There you saw Michael's car up on the wall and sliding across the track into the infield. Boy, the visibility is reduced to absolutely zero when the tires start smoking.
Now we understand why 300 cars crashed in Italy in a fog.
Right.
Here comes the leaders. Now watch behind as Nemechek and McLaughlin spin. And look at Michael. He just forced in the outside wall. Up he goes across the racetrack. Michael had no place to go, did he, Kyle?
No place to go. If you saw the car right in front of Michael was the 23 of Chad Little, who comes to another wreck unscathed, it seems like, at Daytona. But he was right there. If it had been just a little bit more, it could have took out both of them. But it just ends up with Michael.
This is the blimp shot, of course.
There's Chad. There's Michael. Boom. Yep. There's Michael up on the wall.
Yep.
And there's Cope down on the inside. And there's Nemechek. He's the first car of the three cars that is spinning. Nemechek, Michael, and Derek Cope.
Tracy Leslie's in-car roof cam. Boy, he was a lucky boy, wasn't he?
Bill Parsons went on the inside as well.
Randy LaJoie. Like as close as he was, he may have gotten by unscathed.
Man, oh man.
Wow, here's Bill Weber.
And this is Mike's crew chief, Clyde. Obviously, it happened right in front of you. Your car's going to the garage. Your driver's okay. How'd you see it?
Yeah, Mike's fine. It's a shame. The Royal Oak Charcoal Jack Rule Barber Sauce car was running real good, nice and comfortable, real fast. And a couple cars got side by side, I mean, with us, and it looked like air to me. It just both started to get drifting loose. All hell broke loose. I don't know what happened after that.
It's been a great day, though.
Yeah, we lasted a little longer than usual. We'll be back at it.
They're going to go try and fix it, get it back out. Remember, points at Daytona.
Scramble off pit road now. There's Joe Nemechek on your right, at the bottom of the screen.
They're making a pit stop like there's nothing wrong with the car, like they're going to continue out. And as usual, the tire has to roll across pit road.
We'll sort this all out and be back for a resumption of the Goodys 300 here at Daytona in just a moment. Stay with us.
You and I have a lot in common. I look at you, I see myself.
Pay too much for auto supplies and you'll feel like one too. At Pep Boys, Autolite spark plugs now 49 cents with rebate. Pep Boys, everything but gas.
No trendy health club. No $60 shorts. No bull. Speed Stick's no-nonsense formula gives you 110% protection. Like you, it never quits.
By minute.
Excuse me? That's better. Excuse me? That's better. Excuse me?
Excuse me. Nothing better than a steak from Winn-Dixie.
Get a grip on this. Tools that built the USA. Get a grip on this. Then you can be your best today. Yeah. When you grip on this.
When you need a grip on life's little challenges, get a grip on Channel Lock.
I'd like to demonstrate the PGA golf class. This is how low you should go, and this is how loud it can be. At a senior event, though, you can go this loud, because they're getting a little bit older and their hearing isn't as good.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway and our coverage of the Goodys 300. Join host Kenny Mayne on RPM today for all the Daytona 500 pre-race activities and in-depth looks at defending Winston Cup champion Jeff Gordon, 7-time series champion Dale Earnhardt, and 2-time defending 500 winner Sterling Marlin. That's RPM today at 11 a.m. tomorrow on ESPN2. Then, don't miss the race highlights and hear from the winner on RPM tonight at 6:30 tomorrow night. That's today and tonight tomorrow on the Deuce. Did you get that?
No, I didn't.
Well, just stay tuned. That's all I can tell you.
The glass cars involved in the crash: Mike McLaughlin, Michael Waltrip, Nemechek, Tim Bender in the 18, Derek Cope in the 26, Jeff Green in the 3, and Jeff Fuller in the 47 car.
And Jeff Green is still sitting in the pits as the field comes down for the green flag, and Jimmy Spencer is leader of the race. The first time he has ever led this event in his 6th attempt. He started 29th. Here's Jerry Punch.
They're still working on the Jeff Green car, having to change the entire right front brake and ball joint assembly. Let me show you what it's supposed to look like. This is what it looks like right here to the right. This is the entire front assembly. This is what's left of the hat, basically part of the rotor and the spacer plate where it was sheared away. And down here are the other parts, part of the spindle, and then part of the brakes. There you see where it's being pushed up in there. That's what's left of the right front brake assembly and spindle on the Jeff Green car. They're going to replace all that. Probably going to be here another 6 or 7 minutes. It's going to cost them maybe 10, 12, 13 laps.
Here's the suspension cam.
This is Jimmy Spencer's car, the Zippo glider and the Wagner brakes, and we can see the brake rotor does not light up like it does at Martinsville because Jimmy Spencer will not even touch the brakes going in the corner. We see the brake rotor right underneath the tire. That's...
Show me on the telestrator, BP, what you're talking about here.
Well, this area...
There's a lot of different pit road rules, and I don't understand all of them, obviously, by the amount of times that I've been brought in.
All right, let's concentrate back up front. Grissom, Jarrett, Mark Martin, Markham, and Pearson. And in the mix also there, the third car in line is Jeff Purvis, who is 3 laps down in 24th.
Jarrett tries his best to close up on the back bumper of the Steve Grissom WCW. What does WCW stand for?
World Championship Wrestling, Benny. Well, now you can really drive on the information superhighway NASCAR online at www.nascar.com, the official site for NASCAR on the internet. You get all the statistics, schedules, biographical information, qualifying, actual race data as it becomes available, and there are also live chat sessions every week with the drivers, crew chiefs, and team owners. NASCAR Online.
And there we see Dale Jarrett and Steve Grissom and a lot of cars in that lead draft as Mark Martin goes by along with Curtis Markham.
Passing the 4 car of Purvis, who is not on the lead lap, as we've mentioned. Mark Martin goes to 3rd place in the black number 60, the black and yellow number 60.
Then the 2 blue cars, Curtis Markham is in front and Randy LaJoy in the back.
the way, we talked about Chad Little earlier and how we wondered if he would be able to draft up. He's not having a whole lot of luck. He's still back in 10th position, but really no closer to the lead draft.
I tell you what, we talked about, you talked earlier about Purvis being so fast and catching that pack and dragging him. He drug him up to second, third place right along in that, and then Purvis just pulled over and let him drive back past him. And NASCAR may have said, look, you're 2 or 3 laps down, leave these guys alone, let them race for position.
63 car, Curtis Markham off the pace. Looks like he's coming in the pits.
He was 4th, but has dropped off the pace and is coming in. Here's another group of cars being led by the 55, Johnny Chapman.
That's Bobby Labonte in 44 car. Jeff Green at the tail end of that. That looks like the 18 car of Tim Bender, 3rd in that line.
Some of these cars that are in this pack have been in accidents today.
Yep. Here are the rookies and how they're doing. Tony Stewart, the open wheel standout, is 19th. Tim Bender, 14th. Johnny Chapman, 12th. Dillon, 15th. Pete Orr's out of the race. Glenn Allen Jr., 32nd. By the way, Tim Bender picked up some sponsorship just this morning on that car. That's the Earl's Performance Ford.
And the 55 car is sponsored by the Cracker Barrel people.
Mike Dillon in the 72. That's Richard Childress' son-in-law?
That's correct. He's driving for Ron Parker this year in the Detroit gasket car. This is the one that Tracy Leslie drove in 1995. Dick Kangas is the crew chief, general manager of that team now, and he's very high on Mike Dillon. He's impressed so much with his driving ability so far.
Back up front and see how things are going at the head of the field. It's still Steve Grissom leading the way with Dale Jarrett and Mark Martin running right behind. Then Randy LaJoie in 4th.
Got a Chevrolet, 2 Fords, and a Chevrolet.
Coming up to lap Curtis Markham now, who's 19th. Markham, of course, made the pit stop just a few laps ago. Riding with Randy LaJoie.
David Bonnet just made a pit stop in the Restore car. We saw him lead a lap just a few laps ago.
We're on lap number 93 now, and Steve Grissom has led since lap number 71. Jerry and Bill will bring us up to date on pit strategy when we return to the Goodys 300.
You want to know how to choose a motor oil? Take a ride to your local garage and see what the mechanic puts into his own car. Fact is, of all the brands of motor oil, more ASE certified master technicians choose Valvoline for use in their own cars and trucks. So before you buy a motor oil for your car, know the one more top mechanics put into theirs. Valvoline, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics.
To learn more about the world of Valvoline, visit us on the internet.
I know just about every garage in town. I guess I ought to know them all. More professionals use Napa parts than any other. That's because they can't afford to put in the same part twice. Just look at the signs. When did you see anything but we install Napa parts? Dan here liked us so much he became a Napa Auto Care Center. Yep, everybody loves Napa. Of course, some say it's the hat. I think it's my good looks.
We keep America running.
At Radio Shack, we carry thousands of electronic parts and accessories. Accessories that make what you already own work better, sound better, play better.
Help! Help!
Just tell us what you need.
Help!
We've even got those hard-to-get items. Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers.
The Alabama Crimson Tide has one of the nation's leading scorers, Shalonda Ennis, on its side. And the Vanderbilt Commodores have All-American forward Cherie Sam. It's a shootout in Nashville. Alabama versus Vanderbilt, Monday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, only on ESPN.
It's the Goodys 300 from Daytona International Speedway, and we would like to salute the Blockbuster Video Blimp and its crew. Steve Tomlin from London, England is at the controls once again. These people have been with us since we started covering the stock car portion of Speed Week, and they have done outstanding work. Thank you guys very much. Join ESPN for Big Monday, presented by Bud Light. 7:30, third-ranked Connecticut takes on 14th-ranked Georgetown, led by Allen Iverson. Then at 9:30, the Nebraska backcourt will try to stop the 5th-ranked Kansas. At midnight, it's a Wild Western Athletic Conference shootout. Colorado State and the Lobos of New Mexico. Big Monday at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Well, we promised you reports on pit strategy. Doc, what's the situation at your end?
Bob, starting with Randy LaJoie, who's running fourth. I checked with Steve Bird. They can make it no more than lap 103 on fuel. They're not getting very good fuel mileage, so in the next 3 to 4 laps, we will see LaJoie come in. Now, up front, Steve Grissom pitted on lap 53. They're getting excellent fuel mileage. They can make it at least 53 laps, so expect them not to come in until lap 106. They'll be about 14 laps shy of the finish. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
Well, I asked Mark Martin's crew chief Bobby Leslie, can you make it to the end? He goes, heck no. And they were going to aim for lap 100. They were last in on lap 54. That's the same lap Dale Jarrett pitted on. So I asked his crew chief, John Irvin, can you make it to the end? And I can't tell you what he said, but talking to him just a few minutes ago, he said that they might make a run for it. Now, they've been negotiating back down here, the 32 and the 60, talking back and forth. I don't think they're going to pit together, but I think if anybody's going to roll the dice, I think it'll be John Irvin and Dale Jarrett. They might be able to make it, but boy, oh boy, they would really be stretching the old fuel mileage if they do.
Mike Dillon's in the pits. Jerry Punch is there.
First pit stop, Benny. The car's in the lead left. He was running in 12th spot. He changed 2 right side tires, filled full of fuel, and he is down and away to Detroit Gasket Chevy.
A couple of other cars are pitted while we watch him roll out. Tony Stewart, who just got lapped, is in. So is Jeremy May. There's Tony Stewart pulling out of the pits. He's done a clean job so far this afternoon and is running in 16th position.
And Tim Bender, one of the leading rookies in the 18 car, the Aero Performance car, pitted just a few laps ago. NASCAR penalized him for pitting for running too fast on pit road. Black flag. He had to come back in. He'll lose another lap. Here's the leader. Just not going to be long until we're going to see pit stops.
100 laps completed, 20 to go. We're riding with Randy LaJoie.
This is when you're really nervous. You don't want to make a pit stop too soon. You make a pit stop, the caution comes out, you're the odd man out. Those guys are still racing for the win, and you're racing a lap down. So these guys want to try to pit together for a couple of reasons. Not to pit too soon to get caught for the caution, and they want somebody to run with when they come in.
One of the Busch Grand National North drivers, Jamie Obey, car number 41, completes his pit stop and pulls back into the race. He's running in 16th position, a lap down. And now going 2 laps down as he gets up to speed. Hermie Sadler has been on pit road for quite a while, and now he begins to pull away. Hut Strickland comes in, and so does Jeremy Mayfield once again. That's an odd-looking race car, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Doesn't have a front end. Jeremy Mayfield was in the pits because he was speeding the last time and got caught.
NASCAR's watching him closely here, insisting they stay below 65. Derek Cope is in.
Jerry Punch is down in Hut's pit, Jerry.
Well, this was not a scheduled pit stop, but he came in again because he has a cut left rear tire. Apparently, the rear end of the car is shifting back and forth, and the tire is actually coming out and being cut by the fender. So the Herbal 2 car not doing real well. Herb's not having a good day.
He's running 26th, 6 laps down. Hut Strickland is.
And they're trying to figure out exactly why that situation is that Jerry Punch was talking about.
It isn't going to be long before these guys have to come in for a pit stop. We'll take a quick break and be back with more from Daytona right after this.
If more top mechanics use one motor oil over any other brand in their own cars and trucks, maybe it's time you changed your oil. Valvoline, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics.
If you're trying to keep warm with a furnace over 15 years old, you must have money to burn. No?
Look there.
A new Luxair high-performance gas furnace could save you up to 30% on your energy bills. Thanks to Luxair's high-efficiency technology, dependable, affordable comfort comes from Luxair. Call your Luxair dealer and catch the NASCAR 99 Luxair Chevy in all the Busch Grand National Series races.
Enter the Performance Zone with Split-Fire Performance V spark plugs.
You get your passing gear, you're gone.
The difference in gas mileage has been fantastic.
Split-Fire Performance V spark plugs mean better performance, more horsepower, and better mileage. So say the experts and the people who use them.
They're the best plugs I ever put in my car.
Enter the Performance Zone only with Split-Fire Performance V's, guaranteed.
Guess which motor oil more top mechanics use in their own cars and trucks over any other oil? Valvoline. The #1 choice of America's top mechanics.
The question is, when will those running up front begin to pit? Here comes Randy LaJoie. He's signaling behind him that he is dropping out of the lead draft and coming in for his final pit stop.
Downshift in second gear. Kyle, the reason he gets the second gear because he's got to read the tack in that gear.
You have to read the tack. That's the only thing. These cars have no speedometers. You have to know what RPMs you have to be at. On a Winston Cup car with the gears and the motors that we're running, it's about 3,800 RPMs in second gear. That's where he wants to be at.
Randy is pitted way down toward turn #1, so it's a long way down there. He finally arrives. Here's Jerry.
And they will fuel the car and change left side tires only. No right side tire change. Steve Bird, the crew chief. This is the same team that won the championship last year with Johnny Benson driving the car. Remember, LaJoie has never won a super speedway race. In fact, has never won a Busch South race. His car down and away after left side tires only.
17-second pit stop for LaJoie as he goes back out onto the racetrack. And the leaders are coming up to put a lap on him. But remember, those up front are also going to have to come in before too long. That's Steve Grissom. Dale Jarrett running second.
Now then, some of these cars will just put a little bit of fuel, or like 1 can of fuel in that car and not change tires.
Larry Pearson is in. Here's Bill.
And they bring the Stanley Tool Chevrolet onto pit road, and quickly he's away. They wanted to pit with Purvis, the 4 car, so they'd have a drafting partner, and back to the track.
He was running 10th when he came in for his stop.
And here comes the leader off the tri-oval. Still have not pitted. Grissom, Jarrett, Martin, Bessie. And the 63 car of Markham.
There's a 95 of David Green. He's making the final pit stop. No tires for this stop, just some fuel, and away he goes.
Need a gas man that can run about 60 miles an hour and can chase that car down pit road.
That would be rollerblades.
Huh?
Put him on rollerblades and let him just slide beside it. Larry Pearson and those guys had a really, really good pit stop because they were running 9th or 10th and came out in front of the leaders. And I'm not sure. They're still in front of the leaders. They're still right now in front of them.
Still no sign. They stay out there, the front 4. As you can see on your scoring pylon, all this has moved the 23 car of Little up to 5th. Here's Jerry.
Benny, you're talking about needing good athletes on this final pit stop. Well, Grissom's sponsor is the World Championship Wrestling. They've got Sting holding the pit board, and Lex Luger, the massive Lex Luger here in the pits, helping on pit road. Could get better athletes than that. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
Well, Mark Martin's going to need fuel. He's going to have to stop. In fact, they thought he was going to stop with a 32, that they were going to team up and come in together. In fact, they were all set to do that, and John Irvindale, Jarrett's crew chief, said, we're not going to do it. Mark Martin tried to get into pit road and then couldn't make it. Nearly a wreck down there, so Martin loses valuable space on the track, cannot get to pit road, and the race continues.
And he's out of gasoline. He's out of gas. Mark tried to get on pit road. The 38 car of Setzer was there, a wrecked car. He pulled in front of it, and I do believe he ran out of gas. Didn't he, Kyle?
It looked like he did. He got hit pretty good in the rear. He looks like he's built back up to speed here a little bit, but he got hit pretty hard.
Wow, a tough break for Mark Martin, who was running third and poised maybe for position to win this race. Here's what happened.
That Setzer on the right side of the screen. Watch as Martin comes down, and Setzer will run in the back of him.
And Mark couldn't get slowed down, so he did not pit. And now, Steve Grissom, the leader of the race, is coming in. And so is Martin. Here's Jerry Punch to call the stop by Steve.
65 miles an hour. Sandy Jones, the new crew chief for Gary and Carolyn Bechtel down here with Steve Grissom. And he has made the call. Fuel only, no tires. Clean the front grill. Fuel only in the Grissom pits. Let's check in with Bill.
Go! 8 gallons of fuel for Mark Martin. He's away. He stalls the car. He has left side damage. They bang that out. He continues. Look out for traffic down there. He dodges. Chad Little returns to the race.
Joe Bessie's in the pits, the Delco Remy car. One of the front runners as Grissom goes back on the racetrack. Chad Little is in, the John Deere car, and he stalled it.
Joe Bessie, here's his stop.
But he's got to back up. The official
stop in your own pit.
Oh.
And Chad's car won't start. They got to push him back. And he's got to wait 15 seconds. The official said, I'm going to time you for 15 seconds. And we...
Longest 15 seconds in the world right here.
Hello.
That had to be 10 minutes, he said. But Joe, watch your speed.
Hey, what the hell are you servicing it for when it's beyond the pit stall? You know that.
Oh, look at him tear out of the pits. Chad Little is still in. They cannot get that car fired. He moved up to 5th position. Dale Jarrett hasn't pitted yet. Now he drops down and heads for the pits. Here's Bill Weber.
Well, John Irvin told me that Dale Jarrett was going to make it, that they were going to try and go without stopping for fuel, but that's not the case. The 32 car slowly coasts to the pits. They jam in the fuel can. It's gas only. They try and clean off the grill. Dale Jarrett slowly rolls away, doesn't want to break that speed limit.
That's a great pit stop. Here comes Steve Grissom off turn 4. I believe that Grissom and Dale Jarrett's going to be hooked up when it's all over and said and done with. 10 laps to go.
Man, what a conclusion we are set up for, folks. There they come. The leaders are coming through the frame. We'll be right back in just a moment from Daytona.
You want to know how to choose a motor oil? Take a ride to your local garage and see what the mechanic puts into his own car. Fact is, of all the brands of motor oil, more ASC certified master technicians choose Valvoline for use in their own cars and trucks. So before you buy a motor oil for your car, know the one more top mechanics put into theirs. Valvoline, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics.
To learn more about the world of Valvoline, visit us on the internet.
There's no track in the world that's tougher on brakes than the one in Martinsville, Virginia. And when drivers take the green flag here, they all have one thing in common, the same brand of brakes. Because without them, you can't come down this straightaway at 120 miles an hour and still make it through the turn. So which brand do the top drivers use to get them through 500 laps at Martinsville? Performance Friction Carbon Metallic. And we stock them at AutoZone.
Steve Johnston fights Mark Hernandez for the NABF Lightweight Championship tomorrow night at 9 on ESPN2.
Hey, do you want to know about college hoops? You and me, we're going to argue about my top 10.
ESPN Net Sports Zone featuring Dick Vitale.
Are you serious? You and me online, baby.
It's the only place you can find him on the internet.
Of course, if it's got a net, I'm there, baby.
Less than 10 laps to go in the Goodys 300 here at Daytona International Speedway. The final pit stops have now been made.
And Grissom is in second place. Dale Jarrett did, in fact, beat him out by a couple of seconds.
And Jarrett has quite a bit of a lead right now.
But Grissom has Jimmy Spencer to draft with, and Spencer might be fast enough to drag him to Dale Jarrett.
A quick pit stop by Dale Jarrett has given him the lead. There is Grissom trying to catch up to the white car of Jimmy Spencer to see if Spencer can help him draft up to Dale Jarrett.
There's Jarrett.
And Bill Weber has more.
They still feel like they could have made it to the end without stopping, but Benny and Kyle, I think the situation came to them. Everybody else had stopped. They had nothing to lose, so they came in and got enough to ensure that they could reach the finish line.
And they've got a pretty comfortable lead if their car is fast enough to hold it.
If it's fast enough to hold it. If they felt like they could go to the end, they were in a win-win situation. These other guys knew they couldn't go. They were having to take 8 gallons of gas. They were having to take 6 gallons of gas. If Dale thought he could make it to the end, he only had to take a splash. And it shows up on the racetrack. They're all running together. He comes in, has a shorter pit stop, and it equates to that on the racetrack to a couple of 100 yards.
Well, he's never won this race. Dale Jarrett hasn't, but he finished second in 1994. We'll be back with the conclusion of the Goodys 300 in just a moment.
Selection, quality, and service. The 3 reasons to make Leeds your #1 stop for building supplies. Leeds offers a large selection of almost any type of building materials for any size project. Leeds' attention to quality is evident in everything from our competitive pricing to our customer satisfaction guarantee. Leeds' customer-focused service includes free estimates and free delivery from our fleet of trucks to both consumers and contractors alike. All you need is the idea. We'll do the rest. Leave all your building needs to Leeds.
There's a storm coming.
A storm that's gonna break the ice!
Sunday, February 25th. It's the season opener. It's
Icebreaker Sunday at DeSoto Speedway. Awesome power. Starring the Tampa Bay Wings Prince. Rose Auto Store's late models.
Callahan Tire open wheel modifies.
TQ Midgets. And the Quality Automotive Pure Stocks. It's gonna be one sizzling day. Icebreaker Sunday.
Gates open at noon, February 25th at DeSoto Speedway, Bradenton, Florida.
You just gotta be there!
Jack and Alonso meet for the first time this season. Purdue and Penn State play for the Big Ten lead, while Michigan picks up the pieces. Plus, we're all over Daytona on the eve of the race. Join us at 11 Eastern.
Dale Jarrett leads the Goodys 300 in the closing laps and a blockbuster video blimp. We salute once again the blimp based in Orlando, Florida. We look forward to seeing them at other events this year that ESPN is at.
Okay, guys, 7 laps to go, 6 when they come by this time. And I believe Grissom is gaining on it, isn't he, Kyle? Looks to me like Grissom is gaining.
He's gaining a little bit, but it's just like you say. He's got help in front of him. He's got a little bit of help, got a little bit of draft to kind of suck him along and pull him along. And he may make a race out of this yet.
There's Grissom trying to catch up to Jarrett. And yes, definitely, the interval is definitely decreasing.
And Spencer is still in the middle of the twosome. There we see Dale Jarrett, the leader on the left. Jimmy Spencer a lap down. That white car in the middle. And there comes Grissom in second place.
There's 2 things that can happen here. Spencer may pull the 29 card, pull Grissom back up there, and then drop out of line and say, okay, boys, go ahead. And just drop out and be a non-factor. He was a factor by helping Grissom get back in the race, but it will get out of the race. Or he may just pull Grissom absolutely straight by Jarrett and on out of the thing. But you got to remember, it's Daytona. Catching somebody and passing somebody is 2 entirely different things.
Here they come. 5 to go. 5 to go this time.
Steve Grissom's best finish here was 10th in 92. Here's a field summary showing you where your favorite driver is with less than 5 laps to go. 10 cars on the lead lap. There's Jimmy Spencer, who goes to the inside of Dale Jarrett. And Grissom is going to come along, isn't he? And take the lead? Yes, he did. Grissom takes the lead.
Can Dale Jarrett keep up? Can he draft? Looks like he can. As he closes back in on the back bumper of Steve Grissom.
So, Kyle, option number 2 that you gave us was the one that came into being, huh?
Evidently. And I tell you what's really strange about this, we talk about Saturday racing, we talk about Sunday racing. Here is Jimmy Spencer in a Chevrolet on Saturday, driving a Ford on Sunday, helping a Chevy driver on Saturday beat a Ford driver on Sunday. That's worse than Daytona's qualifying system.
3.5 laps to go. Steve Grissom now has the lead over Dale Jarrett. Jimmy Spencer, car number 20, is in the lead lap now in 11th position.
On the tail end of the lead lap, he would have to go around 2.5 miles to be in front of these cars.
And 17 laps are completed. We've got 3 to go in the Goodys 300. There's John Irvin.
John Irvin telling Dale Jarrett what he would do if he was in that position to win the race. It sounds like that Dale Jarrett just simply has to run wide open to stay behind Steve Grissom.
Grissom won the Busch Grand Nationals championship in 1993. He has 10 wins to his credit.
And I tell you, the engine builder that builds this engine in the 29 car, they've had a tremendous amount of success at Daytona. That's B&R engine down at Winston-Salem. Kenny Bingham and Ronnie Revis.
If you remember this race last year, Grissom's leading the race coming out of turn 4, and he checks up a little bit when the car gets loose. That's why they have the major pileup down there, and Chad Little wins the race. So Grissom has been in this position before at Daytona.
Less than 2 to go now.
Looks like Jarrett gets a run down the backstretch.
Looks like he got a good run that time. He's got less than a lap and a half to make the move if he can.
And Spencer moves over and lets him go.
Says, guys, go at it. Yep, it's your race.
That was a nice move by Jimmy Spencer.
It sure was. So
that was
here,
very good move.
Here come the 2 out of corner number 4 and get the white flag. Will it be Steve Grissom? Will it be Dale Jarrett in the Goodys 300 in 1996? We're on the last lap.
Shows a lot of class on Jimmy Spencer's part to do that.
Dale got a good run right here, last lap. About a car length between the 2 as they head for the end of the backstretch and into turn 3. Jarrett is going to go high, and Spencer may go with him up there, but Grissom slides up the racetrack and provides the block momentarily. It's coming down to the checkered flag. Who's going to win it? It is Steve Grissom and Dale Jarrett, and Grissom wins by a car length and a half. Meanwhile, there are other battles on the racetrack.
The 92 car, Larry Pearson, the Stanley car, the last off 4 positions. It's Pearson and then Curtis Markham.
Pearson had a great pit stop that put him in that position.
He will take 4th place. Martin will finish 3rd.
So it's Steve Grissom who has driven to victory in the Goodys 300 here at Daytona. We'll be back to talk with them in a moment.
I don't need some fancy cologne to tell me I'm a man. I use Skin Bracer. It smells great, but it also cools and tones my skin. Confidence is very sexy, don't you think?
Original and cooling blue.
By men.
Discover the feeling of Fix-It Fresh. A stronger, longer hold, a more secure, fresh approach to wearing dentures. And the fresh sensation gives you the confidence to live life without limits. Try a fresh approach.
You want to know how to choose a motor oil? Take a ride to your local garage and see what the mechanic puts into his own car. Fact is, of all the brands of motor oil, more ASE certified master technicians choose Valvoline for use in their own cars and trucks. So before you buy a motor oil for your car, know the one more top mechanics put into theirs. Valvoline, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics.
To learn more about the world of Valvoline, visit us on the internet.
For the star-studded Dallas Cowboys, it was a super climax to an amazing season. Share the glory in this exclusive Cowboys Super Pack. The incredible new Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl Champions video, plus this super special leather-bound Sports Illustrated commemorative edition, both free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. Get Troy and Emmett, Primetime, and The Playmaker in this star-packed video, plus the gold-embossed individually numbered SI commemorative edition, a magnificent championship memento you'll treasure forever. Get this exclusive Cowboys Collector's Package free when you order 54 issues of SI for only $1.47 an issue. Save over 50% off the cover price. Use your credit card. Call now to get your unbeatable Super Pack, free from Sports Illustrated. It's a sports experience like no other. Get into it.
ESPN Speed World coverage of the Goodys 300 is being brought to you by the more than 1,225 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. By TM8 engine treatment from Valvoline, because driving is more stop than go. And by the NASCAR Story. To order, call 800-71 NASCAR. So Steve Grissom records a victory here, and Benny, let's take a look at the unofficial results of this race. We had 3 big crashes, everybody's okay, and an exciting finish.
See Larry Pearson, the first of the Busch Grand National drivers, with a 4th place finish. Jamie Obey, the highest finishing Busch Grand National North driver, in 20th spot. Kevin LePage back in 45th.
Several of these cars were involved in one of the 3 big crashes that we had. Doug Hevron was taken across the street to the hospital, but he was not seriously injured. Well, coming up next here on ESPN, NFL's Greatest Moments, we remind you that we will be in Richmond in a couple of weeks for the Busch Grand National cars and the Winston Cup cars as we return there after many years' absence. For Benny Parsons, Kyle Petty, Bill Weber, and Dr. Jerry Punch, this is Bob Jenkins from Daytona. So long, everyone.
Of CBS Sports.